Today I'm doing a short and sweet video on not worrying alone, not stressing yourself out and trying to, as most of my very bright clients do, figure it out themselves because they should be able to. This is a video on getting help when you need it and an inside tip on how to find psychological support and help when everybody seems to be saying they're full. Hi there. Thanks for joining little Victory and I today as we do an impromptu conversation about not stressing alone. Is my brain working well? Is it not? Is my weight correct? Is my blood pressure, my blood sugars, all these different things, are they good? Am I emotionally well? Am I doing enough yoga? Am I meditating often enough? Am I even familiar with what those terms mean? How's my diet? What things do we have to not worry about? How about money? How about sex? How about children? So the list goes on and on. But the main idea that I want to bring home today is that we just shouldn't worry alone. That there are so many stressors in the world that we all share and we all face. And worrying alone is like locking yourself in a room and forcing yourself to cure cancer every single day. It's probably not going to happen. So reaching out, whether it's to loved ones and those supportive others that we talked about as being so helpful, or friends, family that are so wonderful in so many people's lives, whether it's taking advantage of our pets and talking to them about all of our life problems in whatever way that makes sense. Or maybe it's a professional, and it might be a professional in terms of your primary care doctor, but it might be a professional in the mental health realm. You know, there's so much less stigma nowadays on people having support and care and love and all the things that used to make people be deemed crazy. So reaching out for help is incredibly important. And with the COVID pandemic and just surge of stressors nationwide, it's been really hard for people to find providers. I think that my office in particular receives 3, 4, 5 phone calls a day asking for a psychological provider to provide services. And that's not just for the neuropsych evaluations I do, that's for mental health counseling. And so it's really challenging. When they call, they often say that they've called 70 or 80 or 100 providers. They're not getting calls back. And that might be happening to you. How depressing. How terrible. And yet, from a provider perspective, I understand, unless you have staff, which thankfully I do, to be able to field those calls and respond and try to provide resources and so on, one person can't do all of that. And I don't know if one hospital system can even do all of that. So it's really challenging. I'm here to tell you today about the best strategy I know for getting into psychological care. And it's a bit of a behind the scenes peek into what makes providers tick and how to play on those variables. So I don't know if you can see little Victory's completely sleeping face here, but it's so adorable that if that doesn't decrease your stress, I don't know what will. So the idea is this: when people say they want to find a provider, here are my tried and true steps to find a provider for myself, my loved ones, and my patients. First of all, I say go through insurance. You want to utilize your insurance if you can, unless there's some wonderful reason why you want to pay out of pocket. But if you have insurance, and most people have some access to insurance, then let's use it if we can. So go online is usually the easiest way to do that now, and search for mental health providers or licensed practitioners or whatever it is that they're calling them on your online service. If it's difficult for you to do that, you can call the number on the back of your card and ask for help directly as well. But if you're searching online, search for that type of provider, and you're looking to see who's in network, because in-network providers generally give you better deals in terms of being more covered by your insurance and having a lower or non-existent copay. So you're finding people in your network, but you also want to search by location. Now, a lot of people have told me, oh, it doesn't matter. If I find a great provider, I'll travel as far as I need to, which may very well be true. And some people do that. And with the increase in Zoom and other forms of teletherapy, location may not make as much of a difference. But if you are traveling to see your provider at all, I would strongly encourage you to look for people who are as close as possible. Because when something's inconvenient, when you have to drive too far, if the parking is inconvenient, if anything like that, traffic is bad, it's an unsavory location and you don't like to be there, it's just going to decrease your motivation to go. So searching by location. When you get that list of providers, try to look them up. Do a search for them online. Look to see what's their training, what's their background, what's their philosophy, how do they think about mental health services, and what they write, does that coheres with you? Does that make sense to you in terms of how you view your life, or what might be interesting in terms of how you could view your life? So once you've done your research, and ideally you've narrowed it down to 2, 3, 4 different providers, and you see that those providers are especially suited to help you in your particular situation. Now here's the magic. When people have called me and they've called 70 or 80 or 100 different providers, I liken that to watering the lawn with that kind of hose that goes shh all across the lawn. And if any of you are Simpsons fans and you've seen the renditions of different types of lawn sprinklers, you'll find that especially useful. But back to the point, if you're watering your lawn in that way and there's one big pass and you get a drop or so on every piece of grass, your grass isn't going to do that well. And that's not what we want. And calling 100 different people probably isn't going to get you very far, other than feeling really dejected because nobody's answering the phone. So instead, what I advocate is to pick those 2 or 3 or 4 providers and use your soaker hose. So you are going to douse these providers with love and attention. And the principle that we're working on here is continuing to seek support in a vein that communicates you're invested, that you're a good fit, and you're not going away. So the very first time that you call, and hopefully you get to talk to somebody and you say, oh, I'm looking for therapy for this type of condition. Are you taking new patients or new clients? And the standard response you're going to get is no, too busy. No, don't have any openings right now. And you say, okay, I get it. I totally get it. I understand it's very busy. Do you have a wait list? And some people will be carrying wait lists. And if you can get on a wait list, lovely. Get on one of those and have them call you back when they have an opening. But a lot of times nowadays, people are saying, oh, no, I don't even keep a wait list because it's just too much. I can't manage this inflow of potential clients. So then you say, of course, I understand. You're very polite and so on. And you say, but I looked you up online. I feel like we might be a really good match. I would love to see if I could just come in for an initial interview and see if we are a good match. And so I'm going to call you back. I'll call you back in 4 or 5 weeks to see if you have any openings. So you make a calendar. You put it on a spreadsheet. You do whatever you need to do to remind yourself. And you've called 3 or 4 people and had the same conversation. So that 3 or 4 or 5 weeks goes by and you call the same people and you hopefully get them on the phone and you say, hi, my name is this. I'm back. I talked to you a month or so ago and now I'm looking to see, do you have any openings for therapy? And they're going to say, no, don't have any openings again. And you say, okay, I understand. Do you have a wait list nowadays? They say, no, still not carrying a wait list. And then you say, well, I totally get it. But gosh, I looked you up online. I know a little bit about your background. I feel like we might be a really good match, and I would love to have the opportunity to see if this is true. So I'm going to call back again. And the instant you do that, you are playing on this principle of guilt. Because coming in the field of psychology, we want to help people. We like people. We already like you. We've barely talked to you, but you've been polite and lovely. You've done your homework. We probably are a good match. And so we want to help you. And this guilt kicks in so that when we hear the words, I'm going to call back again, we internally sigh and go, oh, this really nice person isn't going away. And when we realize that's happening, there is a mental note going on saying, gosh, maybe there's some room just to see if they're a good fit. Maybe they won't be a good fit anyway. So on the third or fourth round of calling these providers back and you say, I'm back, do you have any openings now? At some point then, the providers are going to say, okay, fine. I have one opening, and this might be an opening at 2:30 in the morning on the next Sunday. But whatever it is, you're going to say yes, because you are getting your foot in the door. You are just trying to see, is this a good fit, or would we be good working together? Once you go and meet that person, they may or may not be a good fit, and you'll get to understand that by interacting with them. But that is the opportunity for you to then be able to say, okay, what can we do for ongoing sessions? If this is a good fit, I'm so glad we got to meet. So I really hope that those ideas are helpful to you, because the current status of people really needing help and not being able to connect with good providers is heartbreaking. And if there's any tricks or tips that can help you, including these, I hope that works in your favor. So if this is useful to you or anybody else, please feel free to pass it on so that we can all share the love. Thanks for coming.